The Greek mythology is filled with epic tales of gods and heroes, but not all stories involve mighty battles or world-changing quests. Today, we'll explore two lesser-known myths that delve into the more intimate corners of the mythological world, the touching stories of Baucis and Philemon, and Orpheus and Eurydice. These stories remind us of the power of love, sacrifice, and the choices that define our lives. The story of Baucis and Philemon, the humble hosts. Long ago, in a small village in Phrygia, lived an elderly couple, Baucis and Philemon. They were poor, yet led a simple, happy life, living together in a tiny cottage made of humble wooden thatch. Despite their meager means, they were known for their kindness and hospitality, always willing to share what little they had with anyone who knocked on their door. One day, two gods, Zeus, king of the gods, and Hermes, the swift messenger, decided to descend from Mount Olympus and visit the mortal world. Disguised as poor travelers, they roamed from house to house, seeking shelter and food. But despite their pleas, every home in the village turned them away. All but one. When the gods arrived at the small, worn cottage of Baucis and Philemon, the elderly couple immediately welcomed them in and offered them the best food and wine they could gather. Unbeknownst to the couple, the jug of wine kept refilling, and their simple meal transformed into a feast, an indication that their guests were no ordinary travelers. Seeing the couple's unequivocal generosity, Zeus revealed his true identity. He informed them that the rest of the village, having shown no hospitality, would be destroyed in a great flood. Baucis and Philemon were granted the chance to escape and were told to follow the gods up to a hilltop, where they watched their village disappear beneath the waters. As a reward for their kindness, Zeus transformed their humble home into a magnificent temple. The couple was given a single wish, and they chose to remain together, even in death. When their time came, they were transformed into two intertwining trees, standing side by side forever, as a symbol of their eternal love and devotion. From a story of kindness, we now move to a tale of tragic love, the heart-wrenching story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus, the son of the muse Calliope, was a musician without equal. His voice could charm anyone who heard it, and his lyre could tame the wildest beasts. He fell deeply in love with Eurydice, a beautiful nymph, and their love seemed boundless. But tragedy struck soon after their wedding. As Eurydice wandered through a meadow, she was bitten by a venomous snake and died in Orpheus' arms. Heartbroken, Orpheus refused to accept her death and decided to venture into the underworld to retrieve her soul. Armed only with his lyre, Orpheus descended into the dark kingdom of Hades. His music was so moving that even the cold-hearted gods of the underworld, Hades and Persephone, were touched. Moved by his grief, they granted Orpheus a rare chance. He could take Eurydice back to the world of the living, but only on one condition. As they ascended, he was not to look back at her, not even once, until they were both out of the underworld. As Orpheus led Eurydice up toward the surface, the temptation to look at her grew unbearable. Just as they reached the threshold, fear and doubt overcame him, and Orpheus glanced back. In that instant, Eurydice was pulled back into the shadows, disappearing forever into the underworld. Orpheus had lost her for all eternity. Stricken with grief, Orpheus wandered the world, playing songs of sorrow. He never remarried, and his fate, too, was tragic. But his music lived on, echoing through the ages as a testament to the enduring power of love, even in the face of death. These stories may not involve epic battles or grand quests, but they touch on themes just as powerful: love, kindness, sacrifice, and loss. Baucis and Philemon's eternal bond, Orpheus and Eurydice's tragic love, these myths remind us that even the simplest acts and emotions influences the world of the gods and mortals alike. Join me in the next video as we continue to uncover the Greek mythology, and as always, please subscribe.